Hi, I'm using the Sweet and Toxic Ingredient Farm stamp, and I've just stamped it in Mementos Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm coloring it in with my Copic markers. For her skin, I used E000, E00, and E02. I just kind of wanted to give her a slightly pale look. I mean, it's Halloween, but um, I like this color combination. It's the easiest. I'm just starting out with Copic, so for me this is kind of like the no mess um, coloring combination. Um, but so this is my first card that I'm doing, and I apologize that it is so fuzzy. I'm doing it on my flip camera off to the side, and it doesn't have an autofocus, so I think I'm gonna have to start looking into a different camera because she just looks really blurry. But you'll see at the end with the whole card that it's a nice clean crisp image. And the paper I'm using is just the mini pack paper for markers. I got it at Michael's, but it is Copic marker. I'm not sure if it's just the way I was coloring it or what, but kind of bled a little bit, so I have to play around with it. I decided to go black with her hair, so I'm using all of the neutral grays that I have. So N0, N2, N4, N6, and N8. This is actually the first time I've ever colored black hair. I've practiced with like the browns and stuff, but this one it looks kind of gray, but in the picture it looks black, so it looks really good. I just have to practice some more and play around with it a little bit. But I saw somebody else using the neutral grays to color black hair, so I thought I'd give that a shot since they're the ones that I happen to have on hand. So just coloring it in, I had to take it one section at a time because, again, not the best colorer yet, so there really is no exact light source. I was trying to give her ones that was off, coming, off to the side a little bit, but it didn't quite work out for me, so I just kind of colored it wherever I left the lighter spots is kind of where the light's hitting her. But I think it turned out pretty good so far, and I thought she was cute, and she's kind of nice and simple for a first coloring and card, for me at least. But she gives me this cute, creepy vibe. So I decided to go ahead and go with her. And now I'm just kind of randomly coloring in, since it's all squiggles above the skull, hair ties. So I just kind of outlined everything and then squiggled it all in, and then colored in from that way. So you still get to see the little curls, but it's not just a dirty mesh of color, and I think it worked out. And then I was just outlining the curls that are hanging down, and I just cleaned up her barrettes. I ended up just coloring them in white, but it got cut out of the video. My camera died just as I finished the card, so I ended up taking a white marker and coloring those in white. I thought it would look really cute against the black. And now I'm coloring her clothes with V25 and BR08. I didn't really have any colors that matched the pattern paper that I was using to get it close. They were either too light or too dark, so I took these two colors, and it's hard to see in this video, but they blended in really nicely with each other. So I was quite happy with the color itself. So, but I didn't want to drown her in all the purple. So I left the bottom part of her dress there white, but I do go back in with some stickles to just give her a little something so there's not a ton of white, but yeah. I used the same 2 colors for her socks, and I pretty much just did them in the V25 and then went back over the edges with the 08. And then for her shoes, I'm using, I forgot to write it down, so the N4 and N6, and then N2 and N4 for the soles, just to give her, so there's just a little bit of light at the tip. And then I just went over the tongue of the shoe with the purple, just to kind of tie the shoes in. I didn't want to go all black. And then for the skulls, I couldn't decide what to color them, so I decided that I would go ahead and paper pierce them out of the same pattern paper to tie in the background pattern. And I stamped it a couple of times so that I could get the skulls just right, so I ended up using the skull bows from the images so that I didn't have a lot of white at the background. As you can see there, I just have a little bit of the dots in them, and then there I kept putting it in the wrong spot. I couldn't remember which one I had cut out, so I'm just trimming them out. Sorry you get a close-up of my hand. Again, I have to find another position for the camera so you can see, and until I get a new one it's all going to be blurry, but I think this position doesn't work very well, but trial and error, I will learn. So then I just went over the edges with my black Copic marker to just, make it look like I cut them out awesomely. And just cleaning up the edges where the marker bled out a little bit. And then decided that I wanted to ground her, even though I didn't quite have a light source. I still wanted to make it look like there's one. And then to me it just looked a little dark, so I blended it out. Camera was acting up, but I used the labels for the large set to cut out her, and then I used I used the large to do the purple and black background, and then I used the small one to cut her out, but they're both labels for the labels for large dies and then the labels for small dies, and then just went to the largest set of dies in there. Sorry, a little confusing. I should have written all this down. And I just grabbed some of my Prima flowers that I had. There just seemed to be an awful lot of background, but I liked her off to the side, and I decided not to use the Halloween ribbon right there, but to me it looked like it still needed something, so I used a black and a purple, and then just an orange brad to hold them in, to tie in a little more orange in there, because Halloween colors are orange and green and black and purple, and I didn't really have any green that I wanted to use that would have looked right, but so I just did that, and then realized that I needed a third one, so I found an orange Prima flower and a white Prima flower and played around with it. And then put an orange brad in it, and you'll see here that was too much orange, but that was, doing it this way was just enough. And the paper collection is from Michaels. It's the it's the Die Cuts with a View, the Spooky Time stack, is what I used here for both these patterns. And I wish I had put her up on dimensionals. It looks really flat, but for a first time card, really nice. And it's just some plain white Recollections paper, and I'm using the Trick or Treat stamp from Lawn Fawn to stamp that out, and I just use Memento Tuxedo black ink. And right now I'm over at my Spellbinder cutting it out. I didn't want to take the chance of my camera not acting right, so I went ahead and just left it rolling. And now I'm taking Dusty Concord to just take out some of the white to, you know, not make it look so stark. And was going to use some brads but decided against it, just because I couldn't figure out how to tie it in, or how I wanted it to look. It just wasn't playing right in my head. But then I decided to use these, their Recollection little gems, and right there they all got stuck to my hand. So like they didn't want to come up, but then once they did, I couldn't get them off my hand. So excuse me for a minute. I'm trying to put them back. But it just, to me, it needed something. So I could have used the brads right there where I put those jewels, but this works out just fine. And then just some for her ears, or where I think her ears should be. It was hard to see if she had ears, but she just looked like she needed a little something. And now I'm digging through my stickles. I should have prepared better, but I had my youngest in here earlier, so she kind of messed things up. So I was a little frantic when I started, and I hadn't thought all the way through when I started making the card. And then it was like, oh, whoops. And then I'm just using the end of my sorry, I have to find it. I can't find it. Quick stick. The same thing that I just used to put all the jewels down. I couldn't find my paintbrush, so I just used that to bring the glitter in. And I don't have the stickles right here, otherwise I'd let you know. Oh, sorry, the circle die for the Lawn Fawn stamp was the standard circle large. I just had to play around with the size, so I'm not even sure which size it is. And now for the inside of the card, I took the same pattern papers that I used on the front, and I just swapped them around. So the skull is the main background, and then the polka dots you'll see here in a minute. I didn't like the way this first image stamped. It was too dark. But I thought it would just be kind of fun to have her on the inside as well, to, you know, just tie the two in, but it's light enough that you can write a sentiment over it and stuff. And then I'm not exactly sure why I did it, but to me it looked like it needed the purple. And again, that was just the Dusty, Tim Holtz Dusty Concord Distress Stamp stuff. Ink, sorry. Fiddling around with the ribbon, the words were just long enough. I mean, you can see it's just on the edge. So what I originally wanted to do with tying it with brads and a ribbon and stuff didn't work. And to me, it wasn't laying flat, but I still can't get it to lay flat. So I'm not sure what I did wrong there. But that's my way of putting a sentiment in the bottom. So that is the card. Oh, sorry, I'm sticking the front on because it had the stickles on there. I didn't want to do that first, but I guess I should have done it. And then the camera just died on me. So I hope you enjoy these pictures of the card, and it actually turned out a lot better than I thought. So I'm really glad that I was able to do this, and I look forward to making more cards. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, to my blog, and you'll find all the information down at the bottom. And happy crafting. Bye now.